So thanks to everyone for joining us for this month's community conversation. Our topic is maintaining momentum with faculty, which is intended to sort of pair nicely with last month's of starting conversations, but we wanted to give space for like, okay, we've done the beginning work. How do we keep going? What does some more in-depth work in this look like? I'm Stephen Krueger, pronouns AM. I'm the Affordable Course Content Librarian at the University of Kentucky, and I am a member of the OEN Event Planning Committee. So we take turns facilitating these conversations. And a bunch of the rest of the committee is also here. So we are really excited to dive into this topic with you today. And to begin, we want to know what strategies that you use to encourage long-term engagement. So we have given up on the poll. And so if you want to just put in the chat any answers to this question that you've come across that work or that don't work, and then we can use that to start the discussion. So while we wait for your answers to trickle in, we have some ground rules. Actually, if you would put the question in the chat so I can move on in the slides, that would be lovely. So we're asking that people be present here now. So this is intended as a time to actually connect with people. So please avoid multitasking to the extent that you can. We'd like to allow a bunch of people the opportunity to speak as we get into the breakout rooms and the discussion. So think about how much you're speaking versus other people. And that goes both ways. We do want to hear from you if you're feeling quiet as well. So foster mutual respect. So that means power dynamics, inclusive language, and think about how that impacts the conversation. And this is intended as an informal space to learn and grow. So any ideas and questions are welcome. We know that people are coming in with all different levels of experience with this work. If you are new to this, we still want to hear from you. So let's see. Assume positive intent. This can be a vulnerable space to discuss this kind of thing and approach the conversations with curiosity and openness. So our agenda for today, quick welcome and introduction, which we're doing now. So we're going to do about a 15-minute contributor panel. We have 2 contributors today, who I will introduce as we get to them. We have DeeAnn Ivie, who is at University of Texas at San Antonio, and we have Amanda Gray from Kwantlen Polytechnic University. They'll be talking about their experiences as experts in this area. Then we'll do some breakout rooms for about 15 minutes. If it helps people plan ahead, there will also be a quiet breakout room if you don't want to go into one and talk. So you can default to just stay in the main space and stay camera off and silent if that's better for you today. Those breakout rooms will be divided up by institution types, so people can be having similar conversations with people with work in common. Then we will go out into a community debrief where we talk about how those conversations went, anything we want to share with the group. Then we'll wrap up and close out. Let's see. So I'm going to introduce our contributors. So first, thanks so much to our speakers. No, that's the script later. I have never done this before. So first we have DeeAnn Ivie, who is the OER coordinator and communication librarian at the University of Texas at San Antonio. And I will hand it off to DeeAnn.
Okay, yeah, and thanks so much for inviting me to share a little bit about our work at UTSA. I'm really excited to share a few strategies that we use, and I imagine some of you are incorporating some of these too at your own institutions. And I'm excited to hear more about those when we get deeper into today's session. Just to give you a little bit of background on our institution, I always like to mention this because you may not know a lot about UTSA. So we are an original founding Hispanic serving institution. We serve approximately 35,000 students. We have 1,500 faculty, and we have 3,600 face-to-face courses and 1,000 online or hybrid courses. And one cool thing to know about our institution, and this is really recent, but as of fall 2024, our provost charged our university librarian and our vice provost over academic innovation to co-chair a university task force to provide recommendations on future directions for OER at UTSA. So, but I wanted to, in light of that, we're really excited to see where the future goes with OER at UTSA. But in preparing for today's session, it was a little challenging for me to kind of scope this to how we foster strong collaborations. I feel like there are a lot of different things we're doing and things that we want to do. So I'm going to share some of the things that we're doing currently. And I tried to pick off the ones that seem to be the more impactful. We do have a grant program. We're very fortunate to have funding. Our dean allocates funding through the library's budget. We've saved 13 million student savings through the grant program. It's been in place since 2016, so it's a fairly mature program. We've awarded 140 courses, and about 90,000 students have been impacted. These are just a little bit of a seed to kind of start growing a relationship with faculty, and we know that. But some of the things that we do around the grant program that really help create strong relationships with those faculty is, like many of you probably do this as well, is we do invite faculty that have been awarded a grant. We invite them to speak every spring during Open Education Week. We have a webinar, and we actually started co-sponsoring that webinar with Academic Innovation. I think it was 2 years ago. We've done 2 rounds of those panels, and that's been particularly impactful. I am going to have a special focus on campus partnerships and a grant that we were awarded where we worked with campus partners, because I believe that is one of our very great strengths at UTSA, is our strong campus partnerships that help foster these collaborations with our faculty. But the webinar is an opportunity for the faculty that have been received a grant and have adopted OER in their course to really model that adoption for other faculty. And it's a way for us to maintain a connection with that faculty member too. So when they've finished their grant, we can connect with them and ask them to share a little bit about their work. And then sometimes they'll even reach out after that webinar, and they'll say, hey, I'm looking at doing this in another course. What do you think? Can you help me find some OER that match? Or they'll ask about, maybe there's another question they've run into with Pressbooks or copyright or licensing or something like that. So the conversation continues with that faculty member. We also, one of the things we do through the grant program is we do invite faculty that have applied in the past to apply again. So maybe they're teaching a new course. We invite those applications from those faculty that we already have those relationships with, and ask them to share it with their department too. Another thing that we have done, and I'm a little bit out of order here with what I have on the slides, but I'm going to talk next about this Doers grant that we received back in 2022. And this is a grant that we have worked with our academic innovation partners and the Division of Student Success. And if you haven't connected with your other divisions on campus that support faculty, I highly encourage you to, I'm sure many of you are doing that already, but it's a great way to really grow the reach of your work with OER at your institution. And it's been such a powerful thing for us at UTSA. So the grant that we were awarded was the Equity Through OER Rubric Grant. And this was actually the first time that I had connected with the Division of Student Success at UTSA. And they've just been so great to work with. So what we're doing with that grant, we have our action plan underway right now. We're collecting feedback from students and faculty on the textbook experience at UTSA. So in particular, with a focus on course marking, the visibility for students and for faculty, how we can improve that process. We're also looking at things like barriers to adoption as well for faculty to help us know, what those barriers are so that we can, help them over those humps. So we did collect about 4,000 student responses this fall, earlier this fall through Canvas. We're really excited about that. We've also talked to 5 faculty that we selected that teach core curriculum courses, and they're helping us with facilitating focus groups next spring. And so I see this as a super, just a great example of the way that we're trying to identify those barriers for our faculty and create those relationships along with our campus partners to help grow the adoption and help, instructors in the core curriculum courses really look at OER more closely as a serious option for them. So we interviewed those 5 faculty on their textbook experience and OER awareness. And I'm just really excited to see where this goes and what we're going to continue to learn from the faculty when we do the focus groups in the spring. One other thing I wanted to mention, so along with campus partners, apart from the Doers grant, actually two of the things that I'm going to mention actually grew out of our connections through the Doers Grant with our campus partners. We found out about other events that were going on campus that faculty were attending, where we could talk with them a little bit about our OER support at the library, and along with our campus partners too. And one of these was an event that was in February that we attended for the first time. It was the Academy of Distinguished Teaching Scholars Showcase, and it was actually the second year that this has been held at UTSA. Fairly new event, but it was something we didn't know about prior to talking with our Doers Grant partners. So we were able to attend that event and spread the word a little bit about our grants, because we were in heavy grant promotion at that time when that event was held. So that was a great thing to know about. The other thing that we've done is every year we have new faculty academy, new faculty orientation, and we actually, because of our deep relationships with our campus partners, we are able to have a session on OER to share our OER work with the new faculty. So that has been a really great way to really foster strong faculty collaborations through our campus partners. So just a few examples of what's going on at UTSA.
I'm seeing one question in the chat from Beth Daniel. So who typically attends the webinars that faculty give after receiving the grant?
Other faculty. Yeah. And we also invite SGA to participate as well and share the student perspective on OER adoption. So it's been good.
All right. Our next presenter is Amanda Gray, who is the Open Education Strategist at Kwantlen Polytechnic University.
Hello. So I definitely didn't prepare as much. I focused, I wanted to focus primarily on how to keep faculty engaged after they've finished their OER, after they finish their project, thinking about maintaining their interest and connection, so we don't just provide the support to publish their OER and then kind of leave them hanging. I completely also forgot to include some information about KPU and what we do. So I'll just briefly speak off the cuff that KPU has been supporting OER publishing for about 10 years now. And the way that it's set up is that it's a collaboration between our Teaching and Learning Commons, where I, as the Open Education Strategist, am located, and my colleagues at KPU Library. We work together to support publishing projects. Over the 10 years, we've supported our faculty to create over 50 different OERs, and of course, providing a lot of other support along the way when it comes to finding OERs, publishing, sharing their work, things like that. But going back to the topic of this maintaining momentum and keeping faculty engaged. And I have 3 points or things that we try to do here at KPU to do that. So the very first one is, I know this is about maintaining momentum and keeping things going, and the very first word I've got there is stop. But I've found over the years that often once we finish one project, from a support perspective, as soon as I finish supporting one project, it's immediately on to the next one, or onto ones that I've currently got going on as well. And the faculty members also, once they're finished, okay, it's done, use it in my courses, go on to teaching. But I think it's important to maintain the momentum, to take the time to stop, thank everybody for their involvement, celebrate that you made it through a difficult task. And with limited funding and general low attendance for in-person events, it's hard to throw book launches or parties these days. So we're currently exploring some other ways of showing appreciation, maybe some small gifts, some small, like a water bottle filled with candy, something not super expensive or difficult to do, but just a small token to be like, hey, we see the amount of work that you did and we thank you so much. The second thing that I make sure that I try to do is build bridges. So when I'm working with faculty on a publishing project, I try to get to know What cool things are they doing? What are they using in their classes? What strategies are they using? Are they doing a bit open pedagogy, or do they have any cool assignments or things like that? And when throughout the year, when I hear other faculty considering similar projects or mentioning a different idea, I always make sure to connect them together. Even if they're in different disciplines, even if they're slightly different, I try to keep my mind open, learn about people, and figure out, okay, who can I connect to who? How can people learn from each other? And lastly, share, which is very integral to open. Um, but as many of us are, I'm subscribed to many of the open ed listservs, such as the open textbook Google group through the OEN. And one way that I try to maintain connection with faculty that I previously partner with is that when I see resources, events, and conferences or other topics of interest that match their subject area or practices I know they're doing, I just forward them on with a really simple FYI, I thought of you when I saw this. It's a way of letting them know that I haven't forgotten about them and I still want to support them in their practice. So that's all that I prepared to say for today. I want to move us on to the discussion point, but I am always happy to sit down and chat. Feel free to reach out.
Right. I'm seeing some positive responses in the chat, so that was well received. Especially the like what you named, just the simplicity of your framing, like that does make it very it feels achievable, which is nice.